Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. In today's video, we're going to be doing a live demonstration as to how I actually build some of these ebooks and actually sell them, and how I'm going to be doing it more in the future. For people who are curious, the whole kind of business model that I've spoken about before is essentially I'll be creating a website, I'll create a brand around that website, and I'll create a blog around that website. And the blog will generate traffic, and I push that traffic to different products to sell. Sometimes the products can be affiliate marketing type products. Sometimes it can be a membership such as a newsletter. And sometimes the product could be an ebook or something that is a digital download, right? Whether it's an ebook, PDF, it's all pretty similar. I used to make them within Canva, right? And I would just kind of copy and paste text and things like that. But for me, this new system kind of seems a little bit better. I'll be kind of doing tutorials here, and I'll be sharing how this will kind of work for what I plan to do in the future as well. So if you guys are not familiar, you can go to my YouTube channel, or I could just show you. You don't even have to go there. But if we go to my YouTube channel here, and we search for the YouTube channel, we click on the channel. Let me go ahead and pause this. I have a whole playlist here, if we go to the playlist section, on how to actually produce an income selling ebooks. Today marks the day where I have finally sold all of the different websites that I've been going through. I've been dealing with this for about the last 4 months, including this month, on selling different websites that actually were blogs of mine that produce an income for me. Part of the reason why I sold them is because I wanted to move on to newer things, to be able to have more time to do other things. And like I said, I've been talking about this for a while now. I've even documented videos. And now that I've sold those websites, I can kind of have more time here to talk about how it's actually done. And I have a few more topics on my mind that I do want to create websites for. So I might as well create more tutorials here to show you guys how it's done. But essentially, the grand scheme, how it all works, and once again, you can come to the playlist and watch every single one of these videos. This is the full playlist here. But essentially, the way it works is, me personally, you have to figure out a way to generate traffic to a website, right? And that website has different offers for people. Like I said, it could be an affiliate marketing offer, it could be a newsletter, it could be a digital product, whatever it might be. It might be a consulting product. It doesn't really matter. But what I like to do personally is I like to sell ebooks. Number one, because they're not too hard to produce, but number two, they sell consistently over and over and over again. And, it's kind of hard to refute or argue that ebooks don't actually help customers. Of course they do, right? And the customer can access that ebook at any time and use it as they wish. So it's a timeless product. People have been reading books since the beginning of, ages, pretty much. As long as people can read, people have been, reading books. And so it doesn't really change. Whether it's an ebook or a book, it's equally as valuable, and there's a huge market for people who want to consume paid content. So with that being said, this is a little playlist. I'll be adding this video to the playlist. I'll also be leaving the playlist link in the description if you want to watch the other videos on how it's all done. But this is going to be our first video where I share with you guys, boots on the ground, how things are done. The nice thing about creating this ebook system is that you guys can actually take this and create multiple income streams, as we said before, for your ebook. For example, with KDP, uploading it to your own website, etc. So you can make money with it in multiple different ways. What I'm going to be using here is the Typewriter AI app. I'll leave a link in the description where you can get it. This tool allows us to write ebooks, save them, edit them into the future, things like that. So now let's hop into the Typewriter app, and let's start actually coming up with an idea for our ebook. So around this software is essentially what it does is it helps you write an ebook, just as kind of simply as you see here. You can generate a topic, you can have the AI write about that topic, and you can also add more content in. I'll show you kind of how this works. So the best thing you can do when writing an ebook is come up with a topic where there's still a gap of information out there in the market, because ideally, that will allow you to niche down. When you're talking about something that the whole world doesn't know about yet, but there are some experts out there, you being one of them, what you can do is you can essentially carve out a niche for yourself where you have the perfect amount of demand in the niche, but you also have a lower amount of competition. That allows you to stand out a lot more, especially in your marketing, whether you're going to gain traffic from YouTube or TikTok or blogging or whatever case you might use. You'll be able to maneuver your way through the marketplace and get more attention that way. I've said this before, but this always works. If something is rarely discussed, there's not a lot of information online about it. And therefore, the few sources of information will stand out that much more. So let's kind of think of a topic. Now, for my case, I'm actually actively writing an ebook right now on peptides. So for those who aren't familiar, if you guys know about like Ozempic, Mounjaro, different things like that, these are different peptides, effectively, that people are putting into their bodies to help them lose weight, get healthier, things like that. This is a website that sells different of these peptides for research use, right? And you can look into it, but I was grabbing some names of different peptides because I want to write a book about peptides, right? Now, peptides are a perfect example because there's still not too much information about peptides out there in the world. However, there is some interest in it. So it's that perfect kind of example of a niche where it's kind of niched down just because of the nature of its obscurity. It is relatively obscure. Not a lot of people know about it too much. It's definitely not something that's commonly spoke about in the fitness industry, especially like a year or two ago. It's recently blown up more because a lot of people talk about peptides since, Ozempic is more famous. It was mentioned on the Joe Rogan podcast, the usage of different peptides, and they're all different kinds. So I was thinking about writing a book about that, and I actually started. And essentially, the way you work on it is you write the book topic here. Now, for the sake of today's video, we're not going to talk about peptides because that has nothing to do with this video, but we'll come up with an easier topic. So let's write a book on how to tell if someone is lying to you, right? So that might be the topic that I want to write about. So I might feed this topic to my topic generator to give me a legitimate kind of title for this ebook, right? So here are different outputs. So the science of deception, understanding body language and signals, explore the physiological and psychological aspects of lying, delving into nonverbal cues and facial expressions. So you could see this topic here is related to someone who's lying to you, right? That topic, but it's really focusing on the physical side of things, right? The physiological signals, things like that. This one says Everyday Lies, a guide to recognize deception in daily interactions. So this is a little bit different. It could be, situational stuff, which it just says here, emphasizing situational context. So it could be physical, it could be interactive, things like that. This one says The Truth Detectives, Real Stories of Lie Detection. So this is a topic of a book that takes the approach of storytelling about certain lies. And here it says Unmasking the Truth, Technique from Psychology and Polygraphy. A fusion of psychological theories and polygraph methods designed to equip readers with tools and strategies to identify when somebody is not being completely honest. And then finally, the last topic here is called The Lie Game, a fictional tale of deception and trust. So this is a story, essentially. A suspended novel featuring a protagonist. Okay, so definitely this is about a story. I personally, just based on these different ones, I either like the first one or the second one more. I like the first one, though, because it does talk about that body language. So that's something I want to look into. And notice here how the book topic that I selected got pasted effectively right here. All right? So I can edit this title if I want to before I submit to have an outline created for me. And it says here, The Science of Deception, Understanding Body Language and Signals. Understanding Body Language and Signals. So I'm going to type in signal cues. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these stars here, just like that, and explore the physiological and psychological aspects of of lying, delving into nonverbal cues and facial expressions that can reveal the truth. All right, that's fine. I'll hit generate outline here. So now this thing is effectively going to generate an entire outline for this ebook for me. Now, once again, I can take this ebook once it's completed, sell it on KDP. I can sell it on maybe a different website, but more importantly, I'm personally looking to sell it on my own website and create a brand around it. And good example are people, for example, like Robert Greene, Robert Kiyosaki. These people have created brands around their books, their content, right? They've created whole business around these things. So you could think of, even before you write your first ebook, think of what you want your brand to be like, and then go out there and create maybe a list of different books you would like to write about in the future. And make sure they all connect within your brand. So, for example, Robert Greene has books about, social influence, right? This social coaxing, how to behave socially, how to be able to essentially get the outcomes you want. How to Win Friends and Influence People was one of his, most well-known books. An author like that is not going to go out there and write about peptides, for example, or nutrition, right? That's not what he's going to write about. He's going to stick to his niche. So when you create a brand around the books that you write, it's a good idea to stick to a certain brand identity, a certain niche, which is why we create a website for these things, and we house all this content in a website, which creates, once again, it helps you more with that brand approach. And if you're looking to generate more passive income and help yourself financially over time, creating a brand is something that is timeless. You can always make money from it. Look at celebrities, right? They put out a product, a few months later, put out another product. They always have customers. So that's something to pay attention to. But anyways, we have now our outline completely written for us. It looks like that this book here is 9 chapters, plus a conclusion, plus something called the appendices and references. Me personally, I don't think I will use appendices or references. I might use some of this content here, but I wouldn't call it appendices because I want this book to be a more personalized kind of book. So I don't want people to think it's like a textbook or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click expand here. And if I want to, real quick, I haven't clicked it yet, but if I want to edit something in this chapter, I could absolutely do that. I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm just going to hit save here, and I'm going to hit expand. Now what this is doing is this is going to essentially write everything that needs to be in this chapter. It's going to write it out. And when it writes it out, and completely writes it out, it's going to leave it all here in this text section for me. So you can see here, it's already completed it. Now this is chapter 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the title that I liked here, which is The Science of Deception, right? With the essentially the section where it says the science of deception, understanding body language and signals, things like that. I like that title. So in the future, I can have my title right here. I should have added it earlier, but the science of deception and understanding body language and signals, okay? Or signal cues, like we said earlier. So I'll just leave that there. And if I want to make it bold, this is the little signal for something that's bold, right? These 2 stars here. And what I'll do is I'll highlight it. And I might even, let's see what we got here. I'm going to select it as a title. So whenever you see that number sign, okay, that means it's a title. And that's just for your own personal reference. You don't have to, write it like that if you don't want to, but that's kind of how it comes out here. So the first chapter and the text so far was 593 words, okay? If I don't want to add anything to this chapter, and let's just say in my website when people actually pay for my ebook, I can offer a audio version of it. I could do that. Ideally, I would copy and paste the text for each chapter and paste it here, and I would get a voice reading for it. So let's just kind of see a live example of that. So let me show you what I mean by that. So let me make sure the volume is on my computer here. I'll go ahead and copy this section here. So deception is fascinating, blah, 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 all this text. You guys see it, right? I want to make sure you guys see it. Yep. I'm going to take that text and I'm going to copy it here. This is just a small version of it, so we can hear it a little bit earlier. And I'll hit generate speech file. Now, ideally, this is only if I want to create audio files for my customers when they buy the ebook. I can lead them into a members area where inside the members area they can listen to and download the voice versions of this. So, and we'll listen to this.
Deception is a fascinating and complex aspect of human communication. It intertwines with many facets of life, from casual interactions to high-stakes negotiations. This chapter will guide you through the essential concepts that underpin deception and lay the groundwork for understanding the subtle art of reading nonverbal cues.
Okay, so there you go. Hopefully you guys heard that right there. That was quite good reading right there. It would definitely be sufficient enough for somebody who paid for my ebook, once again, to have this as a nice little bonus to listen to as in each chapter, kind of like a different format. Now, for me, we have the first chapter completed. I might want to add on to it later, which is why I'll probably save my work. I can go ahead and hit save ebook here. Now, when I click save ebook, just keep this in mind. If I go ahead and log into a different browser, the book is not going to be there. This works off of a catch system. So it's catched into my current browser. So when I log back into this browser, it will be there. But if I want to kind of log into a different browser, it won't be there. So what I like to do is I like to export this book once the book is written in its first kind of draft. Okay, so I'll explore that later. But if you go over here, hit export as text, you can download the current version as a text file, and it will be saved on your computer, which is what I always recommend. This is very, very important, because if you restart your browser, meaning like you clear your cache, you clear your history, you do all that, and then you log back in, you're not going to have any of your books saved. Okay, so that's really important. So anyways, I'll go over here and expand on chapter 2, right? And I'll keep expanding, and I'll have this ebook effectively written for me. Now that we're actually doing this, how to tell if someone is lying, this whole concept, I'm actually going to create a whole website around this now, because we're here. We might as well, right? So here we have chapter 2 completed, and if you notice here, what does it say? It says word count is 1,077. Before it was 593. So you can see how some of our text is being added onto. And I plan on, creating images in this ebook. I plan on really making it a tremendous experience for my readers. So, if I'm going to sell an ebook, I might as well get some customers and get the customers to be happy with what they bought. So I'm going to really fill this thing out, but this is, version 1, I guess you could say. So here we have chapter 2, right? I'm going to go over here and hit expand, okay, for chapter 3, and I'll keep expanding, okay? I'm not really too concerned with the content right now. I'm probably not even reading the content in each chapter, but for the sake of the tutorial video, I don't really need to waste your guys' time reading, making sure everything is perfect, but you can see here we have chapter 3 in the text. I'll scroll up a little bit. We have chapter 2, and I'll scroll up some more. We have chapter 1. And so if we look here, we don't have we don't have 1,117 words anymore. We have 659. I'll go ahead and continue to expand each time, and let's see how much text by the end of this first version of our ebook. Now, once again, I will add more content to it. I'll improve it. There's a lot of things that I will do to this, but we're slowly building this out. But this is essentially what I would do. And you guys are seeing effectively part 1 of a real business being built. Of course, there are things that I'll do off camera just to speed things up, because I'm sure that you guys, the end viewer, is probably going to be bored overall. But this is, like I said, the first version being built. We're up to chapter 6 here. I'm going to go ahead and pause the screen. I'll continue expanding, and then I'll talk to you guys about what to do right after you finish these chapter by chapter expansions. Okay, so this is effectively the first version of our book that's completed, all the way down to chapter 9. And you could see here, this text here, this is chapter 7, hold on, chapter 8, okay, and then finally chapter 9, as you could see. And this text here, you could see I can't expand this because these are not actual chapters, but they are text. So let's just say I do want something to be written from here. Let's say I want something like this, for example, and I can't expand it, right? It's not available to me. What do? What I do is I copy this, okay? Case studies and real-world examples, all right? I'll copy this. And I'll go over here to the AI content generator and I'll say, for example, write a paragraph about case studies and real world examples, right? I literally just copied it on how to tell if someone is lying. I'll hit generate content here. And what's going to happen is it will literally generate content on just that. So it says case studies and real world examples offer valuable insights in behavioral psychological patterns that might indicate deception. For instance, and it says researchers pointed to a 2008 study published in the Journal of Psychological Science which analyzed various nonverbal cues in liars, such as facial expressions, body language, and voice modulation. And then it just continues just talking here. I don't want to go ahead and read the whole thing because it will take a while. It says 2013 investigation of forensic psychologists, so on and so forth. So I don't want to read all of this, but I can go over here and I can add to this, right? And I could say, for example, paste this, paste all this text here, and I could label this case studies and real world examples, just like that. And I might actually want to, make it the same kind of format as the selections above, so that when I edit this thing, I can make sure I know exactly what will serve as a heading or a headline and what will serve as a title, etc. But now that I have that, I can expand a little more, and I'll say provide a real life example of a scene where someone understood non-verbally that someone in front of them was lying to them. Okay, so I'll hit generate. And let's see what comes out of that. In this case, let's just give it a second. And then it wrote out a whole kind of scene for me here. I'll just copy this scene. And I will paste here. Let's just look at it. Body language. It gives a body language, eye contact, vocal tone, things like this. Now, I'll be using AI to literally create different images that mimic this. So, for example, here it says body language. Tom's body is slightly turned away from Jane, indicating discomfort. He fidgets with his tie, common sense of unease. What I would do is I would go to something like Midjourney or Leonardo or whatever app, and I would write a man sitting on a chair, turning his body, looking uncomfortable, touching his tie, sitting in front of a woman, something like that, on to Midjourney, and I'll paste an image there for people to kind of see a visualization of that. So that's why I say I still have to edit this thing and add more content to it, but this is a great place to start. And this is, how many words is this so far? Let's see. This is 5,060 words. That's a lot of words to start off with. Okay, being that, you got to think, people are willing to pay on KDP for low content books or no content books. So the fact that you're adding content on a very specific topic is good enough for somebody who buys it on your website or something like that. Now, of course, when you offer somebody an ebook, when you sell something on your website, you want to really give them as much bonuses and much benefits. I don't want to say benefits, but you really want to pack the deal in for them. At the end of the day, your goal should not be to sell your ebook, but it should be to help that person. And in return, you get paid for helping that person, which is a great way to generate an income because you're providing for the needs of that individual. In my case, guys, I do plan on adding things like, voice notes, things like that. So let's talk about now a different aspect. We have the ebook, assuming the version written. Of course, we need to improve it and add text to it and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and hit save book ebook right here real quick. So I'll do that. And I'll also export this just so I can have a copy on my computer so that, if I ever need it on a different browser or something like that, I can access it, because I won't have access to it if I log in on a different browser. But now it's time to look at website solutions. So let me pause my screen real quick and I'll show you what I would do for building a website. Okay, so if you've ever seen some of my websites before in the past, or seen any of my content really, everything is hosted on this platform here, Rocket Web Builder. Rocket Web Builder is my software that I use for website building. It's very effective, very good, and I'll show you how it kind of works. So you have these different templates here. Now, a lot of the times I like to make my own kind of system. There's tons of templates, from landing pages to like actual like full-on websites of e-commerce stores and such. Service-based landing pages, all these kind of things. But what I like to do is I like to click on the basic, like any kind of page here. It really doesn't matter. And I like to delete everything on it. So I'll just go over here to Rocket Web Builder, hit view, hit start with this theme, and I'll create an account. So let me just pause my screen real quick, create an account, and I'll be in. All right, so as soon as I created an account, I'm kind of, faced with this website title kind of prompt box where I can add a title. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'll call this website How to Tell If Someone Is Lying to You, just like that. And I'll hit submit. I'll skip this step where I add a brand logo and colors. I'll just go ahead and skip. And what it should do is it should take me to my website. So this is effectively my website. And you can see here I can edit it and whatnot. But effectively what I really need to do is I need to map out my website before I actually create it. Now you guys could go in here and you could fool around, click different buttons and work on your website. But like I said earlier, you kind of have to picture how you want your website to be. Like it has to make sense. So let's open up a whiteboard here. I like explaining things through my whiteboard app here, and making it work out. So let me type in whiteboard online. Sorry about this, guys. Just bear with me. Whiteboard online, and here it is. And let me kind of explain how things work. So we have a niche, right? In order for you to be successful, and like I said, you got to go look at my other videos in the playlist where I go deeper explaining this. You want to niche down. So you don't want to just be general with the text that you write. You want to be very specific, and you have to realize that your marketing content helps tie that in, right? So, for example, if I'm making, let's just say, a blog, written content about how to tell if someone's lying or deception or things like that, I'm going to have to create more and more content solely around that, okay? Because if I start talking about all kinds of random other things, it's going to distract and take away from what I'm actually trying to achieve. I need to achieve a broad audience that are all interested in that one thing, deception, right? If that's what my niche is. A good way to niche down is, think of it like this. I always use the fitness example. I can compete with bodybuilding.com and create a generalized fitness website, but my chances of succeeding is very low. But if I created a website around powerlifting for seniors, people who are 65 or older, now I've carved a niche that's much, much, much more specific. And the reason why I have a higher chance of succeeding is because even though the market is dramatically smaller, there's really nobody serving that niche, which allows me to serve the demand that currently exists, even if the demand is astronomically smaller. Does that make sense? So the more essentially content I create around that topic means the more niche I'm being, and what I'm really doing is I'm servicing an audience, and that happens through the marketing. The marketing, right, is presented through the content and so on. It becomes a cycle. But effectively, what I do is I have a niche, and everything around that niche, okay, is being serviced or being touched, basically, occurs through the niche and allows me to create income. So if I create blog posts, for example, well, it's all tying back to that original niche of deception, right? And what does the niche do? The niche is allowing me to sell my ebook, for example. So I might sell an ebook, right? And that ebook, once again, is tying back to the niche, right? The niche is what? Deception. If I create YouTube videos around the topic, okay, the topic should be the same thing, deception, and it should tie back into that niche. I do not talk about anything else. I don't expand about anything else. It's the only thing that matters. Why? Because that's the goal, to sell the product. And I have to make my product good enough to the point where a customer looks at it and says, you know what? I'm really happy with the money I spent. That's the goal. That's what you would want ideally. And that's essentially how I was doing it. Now, for those who don't know, like I said, go watch my playlist, but I spoke about this heavily. I had over 60 plus websites that were actively making me money in different ways. Some affiliate marketing, some through just purely ads on blogs. Some were selling ebooks, some were selling, different other digital products. There was a whole conglomerate of websites that I had in different niches. I had virtual assistants. I had all these things. I went on I guess you could say a tirade. I was going to say a system, but a tirade really to sell almost all of my websites. I really wanted to free up my lifestyle and open up my life for different types of things. I didn't have much time, and I've been really running these websites for years now. So it all worked out in the end, but I'm essentially teaching you guys how to do this now for yourselves. So the niche is the main topic. You niche down, and you find a traffic source. Some people will write blogs. Some people will write articles. Not articles. Some people make videos on TikTok. Some people make videos on YouTube. Some people make Twitter posts. I can't tell you how many people on Twitter or X use this strategy and make literally hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on this. It's not even close, especially in the business niches. But these are live examples of that, okay? What's next? So what's next is to actually map this out. So let's go ahead and kind of refresh this here. Figure out what your niche is, okay? So in my niche is deception. Think about what kind of products you can offer. So in my list, let's just assume, for example, I'm going to write 3 books. I have to think about what these books are, okay? So the first one might be how to tell if someone's lying, right? We already wrote that one, right? That was number 1. Number 2 could be how to get away with deception. That could be a second version too. Now, it might not be as ethical, but it's definitely an option. And number 3 is how to manipulate people. That could be another example. Now, once again, not very ethical, but these are live examples of things that you can do. This is part of building the brand, right? I'm not telling you to go teach people how to lie to people. That's not what I'm trying to teach you. I'm just simply using this as an example to create more products. Once you create these different products, you're basing people's needs on these different things. Now, ideally, you want to be ethical. You want to sell products that people can help people, things like that. But these are important to understand as kind of like a roadmap, how you're going to set things up. So if you have your books, right, ideally in your head, it's time to map this out. So you're going to have your homepage, right? On your homepage, you're not going to sell every book on your homepage. You might have a little banner about it, but you're not going to sell it. That's not where you sell it. Your homepage is a presenter page, especially if you're creating a brand for ebooks to sell, okay? The next page is you're going to have 3 pages. One is going to for each ebook. So this is going to be your sales page for each ebook. You're going to have different sales pages, okay? Sales page number 1 for ebook number 1, sales page number 2 for ebook number 2, sales page number 3 for ebook number 3, okay? That's an example, okay? Now, I could give you guys, instead of the deception example, I could give you a fitness example, how to lose weight, how to gain muscle, how to improve endurance. Those are examples of 3 ebooks. It doesn't have to be 3. You can have 4, you can have 5, you can have 7, you can have 1, you can have 2. It doesn't matter, but you get my point. The only thing about fitness, once again, is it's too general. It needs to be very, very niche, okay? You can carve out your own niche. Now that that's created, your 4 pages, essentially your sales pages and your home page, which is your brand page, Obviously, you need to have a contact us page. People need to get in contact with you. They bought your product, they can't find their download, whatever. But past that, right, what I personally like to do is I like to have a members area. And the members area is just a place for people to log in and access their download. And in that area, I could then tell them give them more value around the product that they paid for. So remember when I mentioned the fact that I can create here audio files and upload each chapter, right? That's actually a good idea to do that, and then just upload it literally into the members area, right? And I do that all through Rocket Web Builder, okay? So I could do all that pretty easily with really no stress and super simple, but I'm building out this members area for my customers. They're paying one price for a product that happens to be an ebook, but they're getting audio files, they're getting ebook files, they might be getting even training videos, they could be getting all kinds of different things. Now, if you just want to provide the ebook, is perfectly fine too, if you don't want to give them, bonuses and things like that. But once again, I'm thinking of my long-term brand. Now, who does this? Once again, we go to Robert Greene. Okay, let's use Robert Greene, for example. Look how many books he has. 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, The Laws of Human Nature, Mastery, The 33 Strategies of War. People can, especially the content inside these books, some people can say they're unethical, But honestly, it just depends on your point of view, I think. But anyways, that's not the point. The point is that's where you're coming here to create those kind of pages. Now you can collect your payments through payment providers like Stripe or PayPal or whatever. Create your store, add your product, right? And then go over here, go to your settings, set up your settings, go over here to payments, click add a payment provider, select whatever payment provider you want. There's so many. And kind of build it out that way. I'll have more videos on this system, right, on how to set everything up, but it's really simple. Like, for example, Rocket Web Builder, you can click Add Block if you want to add a pre-built section for yourself here. So, for example, this might be the top of my page, where if I wanted to be the celebrity of my book or my brand, I could put my face here the same way Robert Greene has his. Let me go ahead and pull up his website here. You see how his picture is here, Robert Greene. Here, this one is called Power, Seduction, and War. So he has all his books. He has his video, right? Notice how this is exactly the format that I've told you guys about. You have the home page, which is the brand page, and then all of the books, right, as banners. In his case, it's not really a banner, but it's just an image. I can go ahead and click on one of these images, and then I could find where to actually purchase it. So I could buy it off Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Bookshop, etc. Now, I recommend for you guys sell it on your own website. You get most of the cut there. Not most of it. You get all of the cut. Financially speaking, you make all the money. But works the same concept, right? It works the exact same way. When you create your landing page for your ebook or your sales page, you click Add New, click on Page, and you can select from the pages here on the left-hand side. So if you want to create the content inside the members area, it would look like this. But the sales page specifically, I would go to Product and select one of these, right? And you can edit it. So if you don't like the way something looks, you can change it. This is not Shopify. This is Rocket Web Builder. You can change things. So I can go over here to Book, type in 1 here, for example, hit Add, hit Save, and then go to Book 1's page, okay? And I can start editing this. If I don't like the way something looks, I can delete it completely, right? I can add something, add a different block in its place. For example, let's say I like this image for some reason, whatever it is. I can do different things, right? I can make this button an anchor point to where if I click on this, it will automatically scroll somebody down to the checkout or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of things I could do here. I'm not going to go over building the website right now, but you guys kind of get the concept now, the overarching concept. You need that ebook. You need a website. The website should have 2 types of pages mainly. Of course, the basics, the contact us page, all those kind of pages, but you have the home page, which is the brand page, and then you have the sales pages. And on those sales pages, that's where you do your selling to get people to, make their payment for the product. And from there, that's when you're going to be able to collect the money for the product that they buy. So what you guys are learning here is much more than just selling an ebook. You're learning how to build a structure, a real architectural structure for a business. We showed you how to create the product. We show you the system or the format to sell the product, right? And all you have to do is just kind of get into it. Now, once again, one part we didn't speak about is the traffic side of things. There's so many different ways to generate traffic. Once again, you could do YouTube, you could do TikTok, you could do blogging, you could do, whatever you want to do. It's up to you how you want to set things up. There are definitely different things that you can utilize or manipulate to be able to help you. For example, social media, email marketing. These are things that help throughout the process. It all depends on how you want to do it. Everybody has a different skill. For me, I leveraged all the SEO knowledge that I had from 8 years ago, and I was building on those websites ever since. Right after I sold my clothing business, graduated college, I kind of had nothing else to do. I knew that I knew how to do SEO. I didn't want to go work for somebody, so I figured, let me just start diversifying and create website after website after website. I've done this once, I could do it a million more times, and don't get me wrong, I failed many times. I didn't go through with certain niches. Honestly, the only reasons why I did fail is I was too broad with certain niches, and that kind of hurt me. But I would create websites, and I would write articles on these websites. And I said this before, but I'll say it again. My general rule is from about 30 to 90 articles on a website will suffice. For most people, you want about 45 to 60, but for some people, they can get away with 30, and some people, they're going to need a little bit more than 60, so get up to 90. But it just depends on the niche. It just depends on that niche. So as long as you're generating a visitor, one visitor is potential money. And the fact that they're coming to your website, that means they want to purchase what you have to offer. You just have to make sure you make that connection for them. You show them the product, bring them to the product, tell them the benefits of the product, how it will change your life, etc. And that product, in my case, happens to be an ebook. In your case, might be something else. You never know. But this was a kind of live tutorial. I know I said I would make more of these ebook related type videos, and here I am showing it. So thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out. Bye.